Hello everyone, and welcome to a new live coaching session with Kiss My Ass University. We've got online two faculty members, myself and Professor Katie Johnson. Hi, Katie.
Hi.
And we've got our guinea pig slash test subject, Joanna, also on the line. Proud alumna,
Hello.
I guess, yes. Hello.
Hello.
So how long ago did we have our first chat? Remind me, was it 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
I think it was 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. And we were discussing your choice of a product, I think.
Yes.
Okay, tell us what you've done since then.
Okay, so I have already chosen a product. So as I told you before, I want to make some something like study notes for studying Japanese based on normal manga and newspaper you can buy. And what I have done till that time, I made the samples of my study notes. So I have chosen, I have chosen, okay?
Yes, can you show us? How do you have them? Are they printed or are they?
No, I just have them on my computer.
Okay. Anyway, your questions for today were not related to the study notes themselves, right? I have a list of questions here in front of me that Katie and I can answer.
Basically, I don't know what next step should I make. What should be my next step? What should I think about first?
So, in your words, how complete?
So, is this something that?
Yeah, go ahead, Katie.
I was just going to ask if this is something that's always going to be available for download, or if she's actually going to have them printed. Like, I'm going to have them printed later, but first I just want to do it available for download. Printing would be next step later. Okay. Okay.
Okay, and
okay, that's helpful.
So, in your estimation, how complete are these study notes right now? How close are you to the final version?
Like 7. Like as for the one I want to do for download, it's like 75%.
75%. Okay, so it's time to start thinking about the next step. Yes. So for the benefit of our viewers, maybe you want to ask us the questions and then we'll take a stab at
it. Okay, so my first question, which I mean, one from the first of my list, was before I make this product public, before I make it available online, there are some things I'm not sure if I made it right, if I made it wrong. So, should I wait? Do my product need to be completely perfect and done till I make it public? Or I can, as a samples, I can make public something which is not perfect yet.
Okay, Katie, you want to go first?
Yeah, so I guess my perspective would be to get it as close as possible to perfect as you can get it, but without wasting a ton of time and preventing yourself from launching. Especially if you're keeping it digital, you can always go back and change it once it cost you money to fix it. But right now it's free to fix it. So I would say just try to get it very close to perfect, but not absolutely perfect if that's not possible.
So the last 10% oftentimes takes longer than anything else. So you will find a point when you keep working at it, but the rate at which it's improving goes down dramatically. When you hit that point, that would be a good time to launch.
Yes.
But then there are other things to take into account, like when your customer base is savvy, you want to come out with the best possible product because they know the product very well. So for example, if you get into some layer of super fanatic anime people, and you give them a translation that in one spot maybe you made a mistake. Now everybody wants to show that they know everything by saying, "Oh, look, there's a mistake there. What is this shit?" and they will try to destroy you. See?
Yeah, so that was one of the main problems. For example, at some points, I was not sure if what I did is perfect as with the language. So I thought about paying somebody who could check that for me, but that cost money already.
But don't you have any friends there that can review? I mean, is a problem with the accuracy of the translation itself, or
With the explanation of the grammar.
with the explanation of the grammar?
Yes, yes.
I see. Yeah, definitely you want to find a way to get it reviewed if you're not sure that it's accurate, because if you go out with material that's not accurate, people might rightfully complain. You're supposed to be teaching, but you're proving that you're not competent if you leave mistakes on it.
Yeah, but on the other hand, as for the manga market, many things are not completely perfect, like translations and so on. So that was the thing I was kind of worried about.
Well, that's why my suggestion was to start a business in an area that you're familiar with, so that you know what they're going to think. You know if they will think is good or if they will think is not good enough. Whereas if you start in an area that you know nothing about, then you will be completely in the dark. Like most CEOs are, they will say, okay, well, let's launch, and then all of a sudden, everybody thinks it's crap and they're clueless. You don't want to be in that situation.
Yeah, definitely.
But you have to weigh your opportunity cost. Like if to make it 10% better, you have to delay another 4 months, then it's not worth it for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But there's also the issue of you want to get feedback as soon as possible so that whatever is wrong, you know what they think is wrong. Maybe you think that if I'm making a cup, maybe I think this part has to be perfect and I spend 3 years on it. And then when I launched it, I figure out people didn't want this handle to begin with. Nobody wanted this. So I wasted all my time on this. And then maybe they think they wanted a square cup, which was so much easier to make. This happens all the time in startups. Katie, you want to jump in on this?
Yeah, so I guess one of the things I would actually say is to take a look at some of the other manga that that you know is doing translations and see how many mistakes you can pick up on and see what's acceptable to the market. And that can kind of give you a gauge. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
It does.
Are there any other study notes that you can find to check if they have mistakes?
Actually, there is no such things like study notes in the market. They are translated manga on the market, and very often they have mistakes.
Very often, okay. And
Very
are
often,
people
but also,
generally...
yeah, and people complain.
And people do complain.
Yes, and they find mistakes even if there are no mistakes, but they want to show that they know better.
Okay, then here you establish the
But
difference
they're buying
between
it.
you. Yeah, true. They're buying it. Yeah.
So
generally, if
you want to have fewer mistakes than they have, but there's still clearly a market for it.
Could you repeat once again?
Oh, I was saying that there's still clearly a market for it, even with the mistakes. So you just want to have fewer mistakes than they have.
Yes, yes.
I would advise you to try to not have any mistakes, because you're a new player in the market, and the last thing you want is for people to start posting negative stuff about you. It shouldn't be too hard. I mean, there are some things that are hard in business, but this is a mechanical thing where there are other mistakes or there are no mistakes. There's no margin for confusion. So I would try to get some people to review it for you for free. Get some friends. You're in Japan now. Use that opportunity. Get somebody to review it. And that's it. If you screen it by 2 or 3 Japanese people, even if they're not masters at grammar, at least you know there are no huge mistakes.
Okay, I understand. And the next question I would like to ask was what would be my next, because what I was thinking about next step, what I should do. Oops. Okay, so I have this like samples, like I have chosen 10 scenes from first manga, and the next step I thought about doing was creating a blog or a website where it would be like the kind of introducing myself and what I do, and on this website put the samples on this website for free at first, so people can get familiar with my product. And I was wondering if it's a good idea. So if it's a good idea to make something for free for them, so they get familiar with that, or start getting money at first from the beginning.
Katie, you want to go first?
Sure. It kind of sounds like, from what you've said, that there's not really a market yet for what you're trying to do, that there are manga translations, but there's not really study notes. So offering something for free, like a few examples, would be really helpful and would show people why they would want to pay. So you could certainly offer either partial study notes or even full study notes, but you don't want to offer all of your work forever for free. But I would think that showing some examples would be really helpful so that people understand what your product is and what you can do and what you're ultimately going to offer for pay.
Yeah, but what I was worried
What do you think,
about
Arthur?
was, yeah.
Yes, go ahead, Joanna.
Okay, so what I was worried about is I have only this 10 files till now, and I don't have so much content. So I'm worried that if I made it free, somebody could try to copy me before I was ready, before I will be ready to put more of that on the internet. So should I worry about that, or rather not?
I think you should worry about that. If your work is something that other people can do as well, you should worry about it. But you have to weigh the two things. Why don't you do a limited time opening for some specific people, recruit these people from the forums, wherever, and tell them, hey, you're special, you're a beautiful human being, and I've got a pen here, it means I'm professional. And you are eligible for being the first to try out this new study method. Would you like to participate? And then get that person interested, because now they feel invested personally, emotionally, and then they become your supporters. So if you can get 10 people like that for free and open only to them, what do you think?
Yeah, that would make more sense. Because actually, what was I worried about, if I should start already, or if I should wait till it's perfect. I was wondering if I should start when I don't have so much content yet, or if I should wait till I have a lot of things to sell.
The moment when you're able to protect a business is when enough people are using it that now everybody knows that's your brand. So until you have a wide following, even if your product is perfect and you put it online, somebody can still copy you. So your idea is that you have to get to the point where people know, that type of study notes equals Joanna. That has to happen as fast as possible. So the question is, how do you get there as fast as possible? I think you get there by getting first 5 or 10 people that like it very much and are your first early adopters. And then getting those people to evangelize to other people so that then you get 100. And then with 100, then you have something going on. Katie?
I agree with that. I think you want to limit the content that you have available to people so that they're not copying it. Obviously, that's going to be an issue going forward. So Arthur's suggestion, actually, I think is really excellent for being able to do that. So not everybody on the internet has it, only a select group of people. So if it does get out, then you would know who to talk to.
The other thing is you can watermark it.
So I think that's an excellent idea.
Sorry there, Katie, I just said an idea. You could watermark it. Are you going to distribute it in graphical format or text format? If it's graphical, and it's better if it's graphical because then you can put all the pretty fonts and make it look good. You can put a watermark, just a very light text that says this is from this website. Makes sense?
Yeah,
Joanna, you know what I'm talking about, yeah?
Yeah, it does. But on the other, But that was the. But so then we go to the next question I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
I'm not sure about the law till now, but if I were to did a watermark, I need to register first as a brand, yes? Officially.
No, I'm not talking
No.
about copyright. I'm talking a watermark is simply like, what's your website name? Let's say it's JapaneseNotes.com. You put JapaneseNotes.com written in very light gray on top of everything else in the middle of the page. That's what I mean. That's what a watermark is. So
It prevents people from copying it.
If they copy it, it's still going to have your name on it, you know.
Yeah, I understand.
You could have that on the digital version, and then the printed version, remove it or make it smaller or something.
Yeah, because I know from the experience that watermark is something that it can make discourage people from buying something.
Yeah. So you have to make it. You have to make it so that it's not annoying. It's got to be something that is enough to be visible, but it can't be over the top and annoying where you can't see what's behind it anymore.
Okay, yeah, so it's a small problem anyway. So I think.
And you could watermark just the introductory courses for your early adopters, and then when you get bigger, then you remove it.
Okay.
Yeah. So you were getting into the copyright, though, right?
Yes.
Because are you going to reproduce the artwork of the manga? Are you going to have the actual manga?
Yeah, I mean, because the study notes that I wanted to print as a postcard and the one I wanted to make on the internet are the chosen scenes from the manga. So what I wanted to do is I thought about two things I could do. First, I could put a link to the manga which is online on the internet, which is, by the way, illegal, but I'm just putting the link, so it's okay. Or I should contact the publisher and ask them for permission, but I don't know if it would cost money.
I think you're so small that they're not even going to answer you. You know, you're just going to send an email. No one's going to answer to that. I think what you can do, you know, if you know a little bit of HTML, you know what an iframe is. An iframe is just a page that's linked within another page. If you could use that iframe to link to the content that's outside of your site, so then if somebody busts your balls, you can say, that's not hosted on my site. I just have an iframe and I have my notes on the left and right. Problem is then if those people take it off your site, also your manga is going to disappear. I see a problem there. Katie, what do you think?
Yeah, I see a problem there. In that way, actually going ahead and sending the email and not getting a response is actually not a bad thing for a paper trail later. If they come back and say something, you can always say, I tried to contact you, you wouldn't get back to me, I have proof. Also, I like the idea of the iframe. You can still implement that in something, implement that in the context of even a WordPress site. You just have to constantly keep up with the links to make sure that, like when they add new content or they're changing something on the server, that you're keeping up with that and you don't have a bunch of dead links. And make sure it's attractive, because it could get pretty ugly.
Yeah, I think so. But then if
I think here she's got a problem that's bigger than just the issue of how to put it on the site, because essentially she's selling content that is peripheral to the original work, but also it cannot be enjoyed without the original work. The way I was imagining this when she first talked to me about it was that she would publish notes without the manga. So then they can buy the manga separately and then put the notes besides and then refer to the notes. But if she's going to include the whole artwork, I don't think they're going to like it. It's like either she stays microscopic, in which case it didn't really work, and if she gets big enough, for sure they're going to make you stop. Couldn't you just say, this is the page, well, you make a piece of paper that goes around the page with arrows.
Well, I think there's maybe another different opportunity here, which would be to distribute the manga with your paper maybe inside, not so you're not trying to steal what they're doing, but then it becomes like a physical distribution issue. So if you were selling the manga for a little bit more with your information, it would be something that you shipped it out with, but then you're getting into a business with inventory and storage and shipping.
Yeah, and also the fact that there are many, many mangas out there, so she would have to keep an inventory of something that, who knows what that particular geek is interested in. There might be thousands of different mangas, and he wants that particular one, so it's a little bit difficult. But she could, in the beginning, get an affiliate program with some online manga seller and just take the order, and when she gets an order, she could ship it directly to the person from the whatever warehouse they have and ship the notes separately.
Yeah, because as I told, this content, this manga is all available for free on the internet. But the manga which are on the internet for free was put there illegally.
How many people read mangas on the internet versus reading the paper version?
In Poland, it's like half, I think, 50%.
How do you know this?
I mean, mostly from experience, from my friends.
Okay,
that many and content online is free, but it's not pleasant to read on the computer.
Right. What do you think, Katie? Sounds to me like that this is like the main problem behind this kind of business. Is like the person needs to have the manga. She can't just go ahead and copy it from somewhere. Even the iframe is kind of like a poor excuse. Like, yeah, it was just linking, but you're selling, you're monetizing, and people are viewing it.
Well, I see a couple options. One would be are there actually manga stores or comic book kind of stores in Poland that you could go to that basically people actually want the translation that you could work with and say, well, I offer them like as a study guide? Is it something that you could print out and they could sell with it? Potentially?
Potentially. When I think about it, I mean, the manga which is available on the shops is the one which is translated to Polish, so it's not actually what I need and what I'm doing.
But right. She needs the original version.
Yeah, but on the other hand, I was working for one of the manga publishing house in Warsaw, and I have contact with, I mean, they know me, so I could cooperate with them, and they have an easy access to manga in original. So maybe
but Joanna, if people don't have the money to buy a manga, they're probably not going to want to pay for the manga plus the study notes.
Yeah, that's also
right. So then fuck those people who are not even paying for the manga. What I think would be nice is if you
had... maybe partnering with...
Go ahead, Katie.
Okay.
Oh, I was going to say maybe partnering with somebody that sells manga online and you can offer the study notes through them. And that way, either they could alert you when there's a sale and somebody wants it in Polish, or you can ship them your printed study notes. And then they would just pay you when they send them out. Or you could offer the download from your website that way.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I know what you mean right now.
So just to zoom out a little bit, because there are people who are watching that are thinking, what the hell are these guys talking about? Now we're getting into something really specific. Basically, we're talking about intellectual property, and every business model is going to piss off some people. Uber was going to piss off governments, taxi drivers, unions. Airbnb was going to piss off hotels. Most people in these circumstances, they say, well, okay, fuck it, it's not going to work because you can't do it. But you got to find a way, provided that you really like that particular thing. And if you were to do it, you would do it really good. So you find a way. So we're brainstorming how to find a way. It takes a little bit of being able to think up different options and also being able to weigh which risks, because there's no business without risk. It just doesn't exist. So you gotta figure out which risks are better to take. I think if you made a clear, transparent sheet that you can just, if you have the physical manga, you take this thing and you put it on top. This is, by the way, is popular in Japan when they study English. Have you ever seen that they have like this key that they superimpose onto the book? Or maybe the key is just a transparent red sheet that's going to hide the red ink. So given something like that, so that they need the physical copy of the manga, but then they just add this thing, and all of a sudden, it gives them the key. Now, the question that came up before is the inventory. If they need the physical copy of the manga, then now you got a problem. You're saying 50% of the people in Poland do read the physical manga, but they read the translation in Polish that they can find in Poland, correct?
Yes.
So in Poland, is it easy to find a manga in Japanese or not?
It's not easy. It's very hard.
It is not easy. Then I think that would be your main problem here. Is there anybody that's selling manga online legitimately, where you can pay them $3 and download everything in PDF or JPEG?
This one I don't know, because basically if somebody wants to read manga in Japanese in Poland, they just download that from the internet.
And generally everything is available?
Yes, everything is available. If you know where to look, you can get everything from the internet for free.
Okay, now question, when you download these things from the internet, how is the framing? Is the proportion, the height and the width of that manga page, is that scanned very nicely and neatly, or it's a mess?
Mostly it's scanned very nice.
Because you could make a little app that superimposes your study notes onto whatever the guy has, so that they can go and download it illegally. Legally is not your fucking problem. They're the criminal, and then they just run your little app or software, which superimposes the notes onto that page.
Yeah, that would make a sense. But in the same way, I was just thinking about putting the links to the sources when they can get it online for free, or just write in the beginning. You can find all the content on the internet, and hoping that they will know how to find that.
I don't think it's a good idea to hope that they know how to find it.
Yeah, but also it's not a good idea to have links to.
I think you want to make sure that. Yeah, you don't want to link to the illegal material. If you can find it legally and link to that, then that's great. But I don't think you want to ride the intellectual property of a really big corporation, because if you do start selling stuff, then that's when they'll shut you down.
They're going to shut you down.
Yeah,
it's not good.
So I guess I got into the problem.
Okay, what you need to figure out, Joanna, is there any way to sell digital scanned copies of mangas legitimately? Is anybody else doing it? If you can find somebody who's doing it, then fine. You just offer your thing on top of their manga and then link to them. Otherwise, if no one's doing it, you might think about doing it.
That are...
Sorry, go ahead, Katie.
I was going to ask, are there any manga companies that are actually putting their content online for free or for pay, so that you put a link to that, and maybe those would be the ones that you offer the study notes for? And if it becomes a big enough thing, then maybe they would want to be more collaborative, and then if you can get 1 or 2 or 3 that are interested, then maybe you could talk to others about online content in the same way.
So maybe they are, but then I would need to look for that, because
so
right now
I'm
not sure.
on Reddit, and what
check.
it says here is Amazon Japan has good Kindle editions of tons of manga. It's a bit of a gray legal area, blah blah blah. So it looks like Amazon Japan does have mangas in digital format.
Okay, that
Would
can
that
be a
work?
good advice.
Right. So I think
Yeah.
for next time, the homework is figure out a way for people to buy mangas in digital form legally. Start with Amazon, and then if Amazon doesn't do it properly, then just email 1,000 different shops that are selling mangas, or email the companies that are publishing the mangas, or go visit them since you're there, and say, hey, we want to open the Polish market. I'm creating these awesome study notes, but they need to be able to download your digital content. They can pay full price, but they want a digital copy. Can we give it to them? And that's good because we found the type of difficulty that imposes a barrier to entry to other people. Let's say that you do this. Let's say that now you get a deal with Japanese publishing houses where they give you access to the digital copy in exchange for, okay, well, people are going to pay full price because they want to open that market in Eastern Europe. Now, for other people, it's very difficult to do that because you got the digital mangas and they don't. And so if your next 3 years of this business are spent creating these connections and opening the channel so that you do have the mangas, it's not a bad idea, because then when you do have that, hire somebody to create the study notes for 6 months or whatever, and you've got a complete self-contained business that you can protect. Katie?
I agree with that. That's actually a very good model, especially while you're in Japan, to be able to go and talk to people and start forging partnerships and connections there, and then use that to basically build your business legally, especially when other people aren't in a position to do that.
Because you always want to do something that's easy for you to do and hard for other people to do.
Yes, easy for me to do. Yeah.
And hard for other people, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Keep in mind one thing, that I'm not sure how you're going to choose these mangas. I'm not sure which ones you're going to create the study notes around and how to make that choice. But there's a whole type of manga that these geeks sitting at home masturbating in the basement really love, that's called the doujinshi. And these are homemade erotic mangas that are not really published by any house. So they're just, there's a guy sells them to some stores there in Akihabara or whatever. So if you specialize in these things, it's good because you start from even more of a niche market with the erotic manga, and there's no big publishing house in the middle. So you could just negotiate with the guy that's drawing it. And if the guy that's drawing it gets an email saying, hey, I'm Joanna, I want to sell your stuff in Poland, there's no way he's going to say no. He doesn't need to ask his wife or his lawyers.
Yeah, that seems like a good idea, but then I was worried because the way I wanted to choose the manga, I wanted to choose the most famous ones, because the one which people knows. I thought that then people would be more willing to buy that.
True, true. So that affects how you do the advertising. If you choose the most famous manga, then your advertising channel can be going places where people look and talk about famous mangas. If you choose something that's a niche, it becomes easy to advertise in other ways. I think 90% of men who are studying Japanese are going to be totally cool with studying Japanese from super perverted tentacle monster porn manga.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is your homework for you to try to see where you're going to get the digital format stuff in a legal way.
Yes, yes.
Okay, next question.
That's okay. So there was one more question. Because I told you I was when I was doing the samples, sometimes I was not sure if I'm explaining the grammar correctly, and I was looking for different sources. But the problem I found on the way is just explaining everything by myself, step by step, is taking so much time. So I thought that instead of putting my explanations, I could put the links to the other websites, to some language courses online, where everything is explained. And then I was thinking that maybe I could contact these websites and ask if I could use their content.
I don't know. I mean, it seems like you're decreasing the value of your product. Why don't you just sort of copy whatever they have and change the words a little bit and say it's yours?
So they're thinking that if I contact some website and, for example, they can advertise me, I can advertise them, it will not work.
Katie, what do you think?
I think anytime that you're adding links to somebody else's website as your product, you're decreasing your credibility too. You're basically saying, I just culled a bunch of links, when you really want to be saying, this is something I created, and I don't think you want to link to outside sites for the product itself. Like, you want to partner with people, and maybe you even want to partner with people who are doing language courses, but I don't think you want that to be integrated into your product so that what you're really selling is someone else's information. And you really don't want to get caught doing that without talking to them first either, because then if they're much bigger, they might want to shut you down, or they might want money or something like that.
Well, you could do both. You could have, because anyway, how much space do you really have around the manga to explain grammar? It's not like you have 10 pages to go into, all the verb, all the structure. Give some hints. What is this? Why didn't they use something else? For example, I don't know the difference between yo versus sama or whatever. Why don't you just give a small hint, and then if you want to know more, then you could link to a proper grammar resource. But at least you don't have to refer to something else.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking about doing. I can make a short explanation, but I don't have enough space to explain everything, because every particle, sometimes I could just write whole website about that.
Right.
So that's what I thought. I make very short explanation, which is mine, and then I put the links. If you want to know more, you can check it there, for example.
I think that could be a suitable compromise. Also, there are some grammar resources online for Japanese that are not. I mean, there's, like some Wikipedia. I remember some Wikipedia type design with all the Japanese grammar. That's not commercial. You could link to that.
So anyway, so I could link to that. So it's better not to look for partners in this position. It's better to keep doing that by myself.
Kate, is there any way that she can get traffic by having that type of partner?
Maybe. I mean, I think it would depend on how big the market is for people who are in Poland trying to learn Japanese. I mean, is that a sizable market?
I think it is kind of big. I mean, there are lots of people who are learning Japanese who are on basic level. They're not so good, but they want to learn. So it's
on Wikipedia, actually. Yeah. I'm on Wikipedia, and on Wikipedia you have explanation for all sorts of Japanese grammar thing. For example, if you go to Japanese honorifics, they have an in-depth explanation. So I think pack it with as much info as possible within your study notes, and then say, if you want to become a master at honorifics, go to this page and it tells you all about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think
it makes sense not to go to a commercial site.
Yeah, Wikipedia is fine, I think. She can link.
Go ahead, Joanna.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking Wikipedia doesn't sound good. Kind of.
Why don't you just take the information from Wikipedia and make your own grammar pages, so that if somebody is not satisfied with the explanation there at the edge of the page, they can click and get more information. That's just more stuff that you can sell them, is more value.
You mean create my own explanation?
I mean, copy and change the words so no one knows that you copied. Anyway, it's Japanese grammar. It's not a work of art. It's understood material. Just copy it and make it look like it's yours. Format it nicely. If you have any ideas how to make it easier to understand, apply those ideas.
That could work both in an app and on the web. If they clicked more info to get more grammar info, and you just had like something that popped up as an overlay that gave them more information, that would be really helpful.
And it works in
And
print
it doesn't
too.
send them away from your product either.
Correct. It's not going to send them away from your page. That's what you never want to do. So it also will work for print, because you could have a basic version with just the notes around the manga. Then you can have a more expensive version which also has substantial grammar notes. Say for every page of manga you have 3 pages of grammar explanation. And then you could have another version that adds the exercises. So you could then create different price levels. Is that too much work?
So I think no, it's. I mean, now I need to like put everything in order in my head and imagine like exactly how I want to do it.
Sure.
So like it's. I mean, I cannot just decide right now exactly.
You don't have to decide right now. Just if it makes sense.
Because the point that I noticed, I know that when I start doing that, I might change my mind again, because I might find some problem on the way again.
Yes, that's no problem. You're supposed to find them before they find you.
Yeah, just problems are appearing on the way, so.
Okay, and your last question was when to advertise, right?
Yes, should I, because I thought about advertising, I didn't think about paying for the advertisement yet, but I could put informations on many forums that I have such things, and if you are interested, you can check. So the point is, like, should I start doing that before I even put the product online? Should I start doing that when I just have some samples? Or should I advertise when I have like much more content?
Katie,
Because
when should she start?
I took Arthur's suggestion about getting a focus group together and using them sort of as your content guinea pigs. That you would really want to kind of advertise that first and test the market a little bit to see how much interest you're getting in that. And then after you do that, you can start working on getting more of your study notes together and then start advertising in the places where you think it would be best. So I think if you don't have anything to sell, then you don't want to market something you don't have. I mean, do you know how much you can produce, like, say, in a month? So if you, say you advertise now, how much could you make in a month to be able to sell?
I'm not sure. It's very hard to estimate now. So.
How much content could you produce in a month?
Well, how long did it take you to make 10?
Yeah, right now to make it takes like 2 weeks. 2 weeks to create, for example, like.
To make 1 or to make 10?
To make 10.
But because now you're not working on this full time, also, right?
Yeah, so that's the point. When I go back to Poland, I will have much more time on it. So now I'm just preparing to start. I mean, I think my question about advertising, you was kind of answered in the beginning, because you told I should choose these 10 people to whom I should focus now.
Yes.
So maybe I should do it now and don't think about because maybe I should not think about advertising now. Just
you know, when pickpockets are trying to open a door, the shape of the lock is already predetermined. That's whatever got installed on the door. But the shape of the key you don't know very well, but you have some sort of clue. So you fiddle with the thing and you try to turn it around until finally you unlock it, right? So according to this lean startup philosophy, the purpose of your business that's starting is not to produce anything or to sell anything. It's to try to find that shape of the lock. You're trying to find the shape of your market. What do they think? What do they want? What are the problems? So the more information you're getting from this thing, the faster and the faster you're going to be able to find a suitable key. So according to that principle, also what you should do right now is to find a small group of enthusiastic people that are A, going to tell you exactly how to make this thing, and second, because they become involved personally, they're going to help you to advertise later. So choose them carefully, maybe find people who you think have a voice, like people who already have a blog about learning Japanese. Somebody with an audience would be better than somebody who's just there fucking around on the forums.
I mean, I think for me, finding these people, I can do it. It's not a big problem.
Cool.
Even, like, I think even within people I know personally. So.
Right, okay.
I can do it in this way.
So I think we've answered all of Joanna's questions. Now, what I want to ask her is, having been exposed to this kind of brainstorming, do you think that you're learning how to make these decisions by yourself in the future? Like, I mean, are we, like, let's say somebody that is not doing your type of business watches this video. Do you think that we're being clear in how we're making these decisions? Because the issue here is not we tell you what's next, but we tell you how we think about how to figure out what's next.
I mean, it's hard for me to put in somebody's shoes and to say if it would help them.
Okay, but like, is it going to help you to make the same type of decision in the future, do you think?
Yeah, I think for me, yes. For me, it's very helpful.
And this is not what school teaches you, right? School teaches you there's A, B, C, which one is the right answer. One answer is completely right. One answer is completely wrong. Whereas here, as you can see, whatever you choose, there's going to be problems. So you just have to figure out which problems are less important.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the main problem is that I feel kind of, when I'm doing that, I feel kind of confused. Like I'm completely lost, and I'm not sure what is the thing I should focus on.
Well, adapting your mind so that you can deal with complexity is one of the essential skills to do business, which is different from even all the engineering stuff that you learn in school. Even people who are studying very complex physics, they're still dealing with a closed system where you have a certain set of moving parts, and that's all. And you can account for every one of them. So to learn to handle this type of complexity is exactly what people should learn to be in business. Katie, what do you think?
I completely agree. Having your own business is like it's all these changing parts that are basically always changing, and you have to learn to work with everything on the fly. Nothing is fixed. It's not like walking into a job and somebody tells you what to do and that's what you do for the day. You have to learn to juggle all of these different parts, and you have to learn which things are most important through that. So it's completely different than just having a job.
Yeah, like what I'm worried about the most is that I will focus on doing one thing, and it will be a waste of time, because I will spend time on energy on doing something I shouldn't be doing. So that's the main problem.
Well, right now you are learning. You'll learn from those mistakes, and you won't make them again later. So I mean that's one of the positive benefits.
This is cool. This is Kiss My Ass University. So you spend I don't know how many years in school learning Japanese, and now it's like classroom, but if you do it well, you also make money from the classroom.
Yeah, but I think it's good to learn from mistakes, but it's also good to notice. It's good to notice that what you're doing is a mistake fast, so that you don't spend years on doing something which is a mistake. And then again, if something is not working, doesn't mean it's not working yet, so I should keep doing that. Or if I'm doing something wrong, so I should change the way I'm doing that.
It helps to be able to step away from what you're doing and try to look at it as objectively as possible. So basically to understand if you're engaging in a sunk cost fallacy where you've put in a lot of time and energy and you just believe that you're doing the right thing? Or do you have other outside indicators that point to the fact that you are doing the right thing? Like, is there a market segment that wants to buy your product? Are you getting positive feedback from the people that you're showing it to? Can you consistently produce at a level of productivity that makes your business viable?
The reason I stressed so much, Joanna, in the beginning, that whatever you choose, you have to like it. This is the reason why. Because now, let's say we tell you that, I don't know, in the next month, you have to contact all the publishing houses in Japan and talk about mangas. It's manga, manga, manga all fucking day. If you like mangas, you think, okay, let me call these guys working at the publishing houses. That'd be slightly interesting. Let's go have a meeting with the guy that's publishing this manga. You like to do that, right? But if somebody hates fucking mangas, and
Yeah.
you know, then this is now is a punishment for them.
And I mean, for me, I would have no problem. I like doing that, so I think there is no way I would get sick of that.
Right. So you're in the right field. Katie, you want to wrap this up for our viewers, if anyone is still here listening about manga?
Well, I hope that we've been able to help you, Joanna, and I hope that you have a little bit more clarity. So I hope that the viewers have some clarity, too, about how to think about starting a business and clarify some of the important factors for advertising and establishing a market and trying to understand what things are required to even get to the point of opening their doors.
Yeah, and for some people, this might be not the way they're used to absorbing information, because it's like if somebody is in a different type of business to listen to all this stuff, they might have switched it off a long time ago. But on the other hand, you're listening to the exact algorithm of how you make the choices that can make a difference between making a lot of money or making zero. So, and there's not, where can you go and listen up to somebody else or eavesdrop on somebody else's business meetings? I think most people don't have a resource where they can get that. So hopefully we've been of some service. And as always, thanks for listening and watching Kiss My Ass University. Bye, girls.
Bye-bye, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.